I see Chris, yeah.
You see the back of her head.
Chris, I think you gotta do this for some.
Yeah, no, I can't see her.
Charlie's here. You see,
So
Charlie.
any questions? Maybe you have to.
It would be better if you got over on the other side of, I could see the back of her head, yeah,
Back of who's that?
Chris's.
Oh.
So
First come go and sit.
maybe you should sit
Down,
between those
sit
two,
in.
or over there, or between those two gentlemen.
She has to be on TV?
It is 3 feet back.
Yeah. No, it's better over there, those guys. Or actually, Scott would be the
Bring
best.
your chair with you. There's no chair. Oh, you got one.
No, right behind you. All right, Chris.
Okay, recording is on, so
The recording?
that's why I won't forget to.
You ready, Colleen?
Let me just turn this on.
Eddie, move a little bit that way.
The meeting tonight is for conduct of town business by the town board. The public is invited to participate at the items marked on the agenda, public comment. During that segment of the meeting, if you have a question or comment for the supervisor, please raise your hand and wait to be acknowledged. Please state your full name and limit your remarks to 3 minutes. Thank you for your anticipated cooperation.
Thank you very much, Colleen. Before we even start the public hearing, I'd like to stand for the pledge of allegiance. Thanks right here in the corner.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please remain standing for a moment of silence for all our brave men and women fighting all over the world for democracy and freedom, especially our first responders, our local policemen, our local 2 fire companies, Mobile Life. Thank you to all the nurses. Sitting on there.
I don't want to get this thing.
So this is a public hearing, 2022 preliminary budget. So if anybody has any concerns or like the budget director to address any items on the preliminary, we'll keep it open till the end. Some people might come in. So we'll just keep that open. Remind me to close it. Appreciate it. I'd like to make the motion to amend the agenda, if it's all right with the board. Somehow I take full responsibility. Resolution 78 was misinterpreted. It was for Chris Brandt to be the alternate and Cindy Lancetta to be the primary for the Ulster County Planning Board for the town of Marlborough. And so I like to take the old resolution number 78 out and introduce the new one. I make that motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, gentlemen. Motion to approve the agenda with the adoption. I motion that.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So moved. Thank you, gentlemen. Motion to approve minutes from the September 27th, 2021 town board meeting.
Motion.
A second.
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None being said. Thank you, gentlemen. Authorized payment of bills in amount of $373,206.48. I make that motion to pay the bills.
I'll second that.
All in favor? All approved. Thank you very much. Pay the bills. Number 6, comments on the agenda. Does anybody have any comments on the agenda? Moving right along. Mr. Cash, would you like to come up and do a presentation, please?
Do you want Jerry to do that?
I can see.
Okay.
I could.
Mr. Cash is our local artist resident. well known. A lot of its pieces are in New York City, Cornell, all over the world. And plus a great neighbor.
What I would like to do is donate a piece of artwork that I made to the town. I've been living here for 38 years. This has been a good town for me. Three of my kids have gone to the schools here. I haven't had any legal problems with the town. It's been great. There's
Can you show the website? It has the Mr. Cash's piece on the front. You go to the Marlborough.
Go to our website?
Yeah,
There's
website.
no way I could see that from here. Too much of my eyes out.
Is this it right here?
Yeah, that's it right there. Thank you, Jerry.
So that piece is about 6 feet tall. I couldn't bring it in. But this is not exactly the same. But you can see, I hope, some of the movement that goes on. It needs to have a white wall behind it. Otherwise, it just doesn't do its tricks. There's work like this. I did using the same technique. I did a subway station for the Metropolitan Transit Authority in New York City with World Plaza. Shown this work around the world. I don't want it passed around.
I'm not gonna pass it around. I want to make sure everybody, you see that?
It's very pretty.
This was,
Yes, I can see it.
I designed some vases for the Museum of Modern Art, and it's the same technique. It's just simpler, and you can take that and pass that around. You know, they're selling them in the designs. It's like, oh,
So would this be about the size that you put for the town?
no, the piece for the town is this tall.
Okay.
So what I'm imagining that Al and I looked around in the building here, and when you walk in, there's kind of this corner. It's not a 90-degree corner, it's a wide poster there, and there are glass cabinets behind it on the wall. And what I talked to some of my friends in town, so there are 3 people that are going to be involved helping me with this. Manny Cucci from Basic Glass, and Jeff Palladino from Milton Hardware, and Dave Pullian, who's an electrician. So there are things that need to be done to prepare for it, but it's covered. And my concern is that it's glass, so that's always a concern when that. And I'm imagining having something like a little spring or a rope, rather, something to define. You don't go over here and grab it. You stay away. And I don't think it's appropriate for a school, but for the town hall.
Any questions?
You said it's gonna be actual glass?
It will be,
And you
this
have-
is glass.
Do you etch all that yourself?
What I did is I silk screened it. And for the big, at one time I was screening large sheets of glass, 6 feet by 4 feet, and then cutting them up to make crystalline structures. This is from a retrospective, and this is made with glass. Same technique, silk screening transparent ink sometimes, and firing them, and then building using silicone, making special forms to create this thing. That was, yes.
Is it like tempered glass or is
It's
it
not tempered
not
glass.
tempered glass?
And the piece there is 1/4 inch glass. This is single thick glass, single strength.
That's not significant weight to it then.
Pardon?
That's not some significant weight to it then.
That will have some weight to it, yes. It will have a bottom that's probably about 24 inches wide and as long as it, so it isn't going to tip over. Any questions? You know,
Yeah, I think it's a great thing. This is the first step, Sydney. Of course, you know that we're renters. So the next step is, I would go see Michael Brooks and Larry Cavazza. And explain to them, maybe you'd like to meet with me, with Mr. Brooks, and then explain with the town, I think, is okay with it. I think that I'm okay with it. I think Scott might. And everybody's okay with it, then we will just have a conversation with Mr. Brooks. And Mr. Brooks always has another hierarchy. He has his board. Like I have my board.
The only thing I could think of is that, like, because it's still considered a school building, would they have a problem with it being non-tempered glass? And it could break and possibly somebody get cut pretty bad. That's the only thing I could think of.
okay, yeah.
I think we have some great people that are gonna help you there.
Yeah.
Mr. Bourne, the electrician.
It seems like the right people. They're part of this. That'll be great.
Will you have a little notation or something that explains it?
I would, you mean have have a plaque to explain what's going on? Yes.
Something.
Does that piece have a name? Is it a name, like, you know?
It might have had a name, but I can't remember. I can remember my children's names. That's all.
Okay.
But thank you very much, Cindy. I appreciate it.
Sure.
No, thank you.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Thank you.
Very, very nice. Thank
Might
you.
have a school board meeting.
Actually, I worked with Cindy way back when I was in IBM. I made all the line structures on paper that IBM had like a 6-foot roll.
Yeah.
And he would take it and he would use it and do the silk screening and stuff with it.
He was great. I would give him, I said, yeah, here's a sketch of kind of what I'm thinking about. Weeks later, he'd come with 6 variations of the idea. And it was really great. And this was before people had personal computers that you could do this stuff with.
Right.
I'm gonna grab this. That stays back.
Thank you, Sydney.
Thanks, Sid.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Great. Okay, so we want to remind everybody, the public meeting is open still for the 2022 budget. So let's go with the reports of departments and boards. So started the budget meetings. And Chris Rocco, our budget director, many comments. You're gonna buy a tea set?
No, I coached some.
Oh, okay.
So it's closer, I guess.
That was multiple interviews with the employees. I'll wait till you're done. So I want to thank Councilman Corcoran and Christina for all the time we spent. We had multiple meetings, like I said, and then we had meetings to back those meetings and talk to the people that we first interviewed. Several in-person meetings with the Milton Landing Pier conference call with our engineer and the South Pier team. It's basically about the big boats and the dolphins that were needed for that big boat. I met with representatives at Spectrums at various parks locations to discuss internet service. We met with them at the Cool Chance Park and also at the Sands Avenue Park. Attended the community memorial for those lost during the pandemic at Cool Chance Park. That went very well. I met with the Recreation Committee several times to discuss the trunk or treat. That went very well. We're on our way. Met several times in Milton with Central Hudson representing to discuss electric poles on Main Street. That's the Pollock Main Street project. Retail on the bottom and apartments on top. The board and worked with the building inspector. We changed a lot of codes for that business to come in, so we're looking forward to that really happening. Conference call with IT committee and Spectrum to meet new representative and discuss a new offering. It was a shaky start, but hopefully we'll get back on track with that one. With local audit, Cash, and he just did the presentation. Met with Dennis Larios and our legal representatives of possible project at the Marlborough dockside property. Met with them because of the issue of sewer. The applicant said he needs to flush toilets, so we have to find out basically between Bayside and Dockside if that's possible, if there's enough capacity right now. So we'll be meeting again coming shortly. Had a couple of train station park pre-construction meetings with our planner and the consortium construction company. That went very well. As you can imagine, we asked for some nice steps that were, I think, granite, and they're doing the shop drawings for those and actually ordered them. As you know, basically a lot of the construction material is on back order, so. But it's one of the things that we really like to see because the effect, and they suggested they could do concrete steps, but our planner suggested they wanted to go ahead with the original design. And I agree with that. Anyway, I met with Police Chief Goza, Kurt Fulton, Larry Cavaza, and the Highway Superintendent John Alonji to discuss logistics for the trunk or treat. So that's been all ironed out. Met with Julian Falco to discuss the status and budget for the Milton and Marlborough wastewater treatment. That'll be on the agenda for the changes for the 2022 budget. Met with Tom Back Engineering Committee to discuss proposed plans for reconstruction on the Tom Back building. That's going way too slow for my opinion. I think the committee people are also concerned about that. I have not yet received a contract. And yeah, and I'm really concerned about this because we started this 2 months ago, right? And our taxpayers are saying, especially my seniors, our seniors, they're saying, you know, what's happening with Tom Back, and I can't report anything because nothing's happening. Anyway.
Well, we met with them, they say they had the contract.
We haven't been.
We haven't been there. We're looking for the construction because it's Wick's law. And now Wick's law even went further that you have to break up the air conditioning and the plumbing, according to Phil Bell. So we met and then we didn't meet for like a month and a half. And we were wondering what was happening. Scott called. And so hopefully, if I don't hear anything tomorrow, I'm definitely going to call Phil and see what's up. So I'm really concerned about the project. We have the money. Well, like I said, we got the contracts about 3 months ago for the $800,000, along with the $50,000 for the car, the new police car or truck. So that is going to happen in 2022, and then we could
Maybe a little bit of.
It's ordered, I can tell you.
It's
that.
ordered, but there's no fleet, they're not building any fleet.
the contract with Disney is for 2022.
I know,
So whenever
I'm
it
just saying,
comes-
it probably might be 2022.
They cut off any fleet vehicles right now.
For the car you're talking about.
Yeah.
I understand.
They're very easy to have to give estimates for
I have to talk a little louder through that mask.
through the fluctuation of prices, guys. You send them ahead to give estimates. And
Right now, they won't even take our fleet.
Yeah, it's,
Any cars being built for retail.
The contract Al was talking about is the contract between us and Phil Bell for,
Yeah.
you know, overseeing things.
Yeah, we're trying to get Phil to give us an actual
Then we can-
contract, so
then we
the
can
board
start
could look at the contract and say, these are gonna be the costs, are you guys okay with this? You know, for his-
Yes, yeah.
Just for his contract.
yeah, I followed through with that because there was, you know, things that weren't established in the very beginning and how he's gonna get paid and how the architect was gonna get paid. And, you know, we were a little upset because all of a sudden we're starting to look at bills because I haven't gotten that yet either. They started billing us when we're saying, what are you billing us for?
Yeah, give us.
But we'll see if we can work that out. I'm sure we will. My other thing was we met with the Mobile Life representative, discuss budget issues. That was myself, Scott Woosley, and another gentleman where he was a number guy, I forget his name. And Scott and Christina. And that was a mind opening. I'm gonna tell you right now that we never expect the increase that they proposed to us, and that's why we had to change our budget. It was a 10% increase. And they went through the numbers and they justified why they were going, you know, why it was a 10% increase. Now, to put it in perspective, 10% is almost $30,000 of the contract. So, you know, we added $30,000 to whatever amount that we had. I think that Chris put that down and it was substantial. I mean, it's a lot of money. So 10%, it was on maintenance, their maintenance, and it was about basically
Labor.
getting people employed,
So the labor costs.
labor, and there was a shortfall because of COVID-19 and all that stuff. They try to make us feel better, saying what happened up in Highland. Their increase is much more. They always told us if you had a nursing home, your rates would be lower, but now they're changing their mind because what happened with the pandemic, nursing homes weren't doing that much business. They weren't transporting, they weren't doing any of that, which made them the money. So now their increase is around 80 or something like that $1,000. So they're looking at that. So it was a shock to us because we were in a comfortable place with the tentative, but we had to up it to 10,000. So
With the
20,
normal
almost
increase is
30,000.
like 1 or 2%.
Yeah, normal. This is almost like 7 years worth of increases in 1 year,
Yeah.
pretty much.
Yeah. So basically, in the last couple contracts, it's been increases of 1 and 2%. And it's, you know,
You said that their billable hours right now are, the people that they have working, mostly are working time and a half every week. You know, they're working 80+ hours a week because they can't get people. They've upped their cost, they upped their costs as far as giving them a salary increase. New people coming in, they had to, you know, give them a higher cost. So basically, it's like anything else. Their costs go up and they push it down to us. And our numbers stayed flat, right? I mean, our numbers as far as transport are around 700 a year,
yeah,
which was about what we've been doing.
Yeah.
So from our perspective in the town, we kind of stayed flat where other towns didn't. Again, as Al pointed out, a lot of that because we don't have a nursing home like some of these other towns do. So that perspective, we're right. It's just mainly their labor costs. And of course, they're renting a space now too. that-
yeah. And I indicated to them, you could kind of took $11,000 away from us and, by going to Pinnacle. But the other thing is that, okay, so how could you reduce it? So and we said, they suggested maybe reduce our hours.
Yeah.
And I said, I'm not gonna reduce the hours. I don't think the board wants to reduce the hours. I don't want to be the one having a heart attack that the hour you're not gonna be here. So, you know, I think that was a no-brainer, that we can't really eliminate any hours. Right now, it's from 7 to 10, then we have the fill-ins. So that being said, attended the town's community day event. That went great. Thank you for everybody involved in that, and there was a lot of people involved. And that's my report. Building inspector, Mr. Parker.
Monthly report, September 21, 2021, building department. Certificate of occupancy 4, request for information 19. Building extensions 3, fire inspection 30, fire calls 1. Water remedy 8, complaints 22, burn permits issue 15. Building permits, addition renovation 7, barns 1, burning permits 15, carports garages 1, commercial 1, deck stairs 1, electrical HVAC 9, multiple family 1, pool hot tub 1, roofs 5, sheds 4, signs 1, single family homes 3, solar panels 2, tank and solar removals 2, wireless communications 2, wood pellet stoves 1. Estimated cost of building $4,965,580. Total permits 57. Fees collected during the month, certificate of occupancy 600, permit extensions 1,020 cents, building permits $10,449, request for information 1,950, fire inspections 2,060, burn fees $75 for a total fees collected from the building department $16,134.20. Total miles 869, the total gas usage 70 gallons.
Question for Mr. Parker. Thank you, Tom. Chief,
Activity summary for the month of September 2021. Personal injury auto accident 7, fatal 0, property damage accidents 23 for a total of 30 for the month. Summons is issued, vehicle and traffic 85, with no parking summons is issued. Plane activity, total blotter entries 1,574, total arrests 32 for the month. Telephone calls handled 1,825 telephone calls. Overtime for the month, full-time dispatchers 8, part-time dispatchers 24. Police mileage for the month 10,354 miles, with a fuel consumption of 1,123.186 miles. We had 1 use of force officer versus deer, and we had 2 hands-on use of force. One was at the high school during a fight, it was to restrain one of the assailants, and the second one was for a resisting arrest charge for a gentleman who did not want to be arrested. No injuries to anybody, minor hands-on just to control the situation. Other than that, it's a productive month.
Who won the fight between the deer and the officer?
The officer. Usually when there's a car deer accident, the deer's allowed to terminate it, but it's a reportable use of force. for us. It's silly. It's a weapons discharge. Yeah, that's
any questions for the chief?
report for the month.
I want to ask a question because in light of a month or so ago, there was a stabbing at another town at a football game.
Yes.
Have we seen anything of the likes of that? I mean, you just said there was a
Nothing
little scuffle, but
Yeah, this was during school time, student hands-on fight, which the SRO got involved in and ended up breaking up. In order to break it up, he restrained one person in a bear hug. That dictates our use of force.
yeah, that's
But we've been in communication with the school. They want to step up security through the PVA detail that they employ the officers on their own. Unfortunately, due to staffing issues, we can't give them the numbers that they want. They want 5 guys for the games. We usually come up with 3, but they want 5. There's been no indication here of any problems, and I can tell you the knowledge I have of that other incident, not a random incident. It just was that these 2 people involved had issues, had problems prior, and it just erupted into a fist fight where one pulled out a knife, and they had history. So it wasn't random, and I don't think a lot of the schools are up in arms over that. They're worried about their games and stuff. I think they're just being proactive by increasing security, but we have no issues here that we're concerned.
So you're gonna be able to get to that 5?
I don't know.
I think the home games are about that.
We moved all the games to 5 o'clock.
They did change their times.
when they do
More
those
daylight.
when they request that, does it have to be a full-time officer? Could be anybody on the list, the
Could be
call
any,
list?
any one of our employees can do, well, police officers can do it, full or part-time. The problem with it is it's a PVA detail, so I don't have the authority to mandate anybody to do it.
All right.
I don't have the authority to make anybody do it. So if none show up, that's what they get is none.
Right.
Now, there's been some conversations. I'm sure the PVA will come to the town at some point in time. They want to look to change how they do those things. We can have those conversations later.
Yeah, you talked about a little budget. so-
Right. We can have those conversations on what they want to do. I don't think it's best for everybody. So when they unveil their future plan, they have to get the school involved as well. When they unveil their future plan, at some point, the board will have to make a decision on whether or not they want me to pursue that or not.
And that, just one question on that plan that was in my head. If that plan went forward where it came through us, would you have the authority to schedule?
I would. I think, again, I know not everybody knows about the plan, but I think the legacy cost for that plan is not going to be economical for anybody. I really don't think the school's going to spend that kind of money.
It's gonna be their decision. right?
Correct.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Very much.
Oh,
Appreciate all the
one
hard
last
work
thing
you
I'll
do.
bring up, just so you guys are aware. I did meet with the school district today in reference to the SRO contract, which expires in June. I will send you as an email, but start thinking about it. School has no changes they want to make. It's already in there for the contractual increases that go by the union contracts. That's already in the plan. They don't want to make any changes to the new one except extend it for another 4 years. So
The
think about it.
Car, everything's in there? The
Yeah,
car
cars.
rates, are in the rate,
Yes.
right?
The SRO in the high school, which is under a municipal agreement. Then the one in the middle school, one in the elementary school, which we build them back for, inclusive of the cars will stay in there and the billing for the cars. They said the only change that they wanted to make was change the dates.
So they want to change the date, the length of the contract with the PBA.
No, this is our SRO contract.
Yeah, but I mean, their increase comes from the contract.
Correct.
Oh,
So-
Right.
So
Now
they-
we put it,
That's already in there, that the rate for the SRO is dictated by the negotiated contract that's on file.
So right now, the contract is 2 years?
Right now, the contract we have is 4 years, but they're 2 years into it. So
Yeah,
this
2
current
years.
contract expires December of 2023,
but the school wording basically says it goes by the contract.
the police
Yeah.
contract.
It doesn't
right.
actually have a physical.
Yeah.
number,
There's
so
no number, it just says whatever's
Whatever
dictated in
we
the
come
police
up with.
contract.
Whatever
So
the increase
They
is.
ask for a copy of the current contract. Obviously, they'll ask for a copy of the newly negotiated one sometime in 2023, 24, whenever that happens. But for now, they'll go off the contract that we have that's valid, and that's what they can figure their numbers on. So we get current salaries, because, every January they have a
I was
negotiated
just
increase.
trying to think the rationale why to increase it from 4 years.
Oh, it was no, the union contract's not.
No, I know.
The SRO contract ran 4 years last time,
Okay.
so they just want to renew it for 4 years again.
Oh, okay. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. I misunderstood.
The only problem that came up with that, what they were considering is mirroring the union contract. But I reassured them that contracts negotiated are fairly usually the same every year. I really doubted that anybody was going to negotiate a 10% increase, which would adversely affect their budgets, because their budgets run different than ours. Ours runs,
Yeah.
right? So there's a 6 months off or whatever. So they're just planning for their future budgets. But I said I didn't expect anything to be anything different in the new contract when it's negotiated 2023 than what's in here now, other than your standard raises that are been negotiated the last few years. I don't expect anybody coming out with a 10 or 15% raise. Although if you're considering that, let me know.
Well, and sometimes those things can take 2 years to even negotiate, so
This is very true.
they might be into the 4th year by the time. So
Thanks, thank you, Chief.
So
Thanks for
as
the
those
input.
hard copy contracts come through, Supervisor Lanzetta will get them, Chairman. will. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief.
Waiver highway.
Yep.
Monthly report, September 2021. Roads, we spent the beginning of the month cutting brush, sweeping, including debris from the roads that's created by Hurricane Ida. Go back to blacktop repairs to the roads to replacing, or installing pipes, and from washouts caused by the storms that occurred. On 9/9, we paved the swale on Bailey's Gap Road. On 9/13 to 9/23, we did our yearly pavement crack sealing throughout the town. Drainage, we cleaned drainage ditch lines on Old Indian Road and Dock Road. Marlborough, we installed 23 feet of 15-inch galvanized pipe at the intersection of Highland Avenue and Western Avenue. At 913 and 914, we replaced 117 feet by 12-inch PVC pipe on Old Indian Road at various locations. At 922, we installed 30 feet by 8-inch PVC pipe along the catch basin on Old Indian Road. 927, with a catch basin repair for the bottling. We continued doing road patrols, checking and cleaning up pipe ends and drainage ditches so they would remain in good working condition. Brush weeds, we continued mowing all the Milton. We started to construct a much needed shed to protect our brine tanks. 925, our department participated in the town of Marlborough School in the Pride Day, which is Memorial Park. 916, we assisted the water department with a water main break on Post Road. Shared services at 920, we sent 2 trucks to town of surface to assist in the blacktop project. Fuel usage, 8.171 gallons, diesel 1,012.663 gallons. Expected submitted chronology. I think, I don't think they installed galvanized pipe at the intersection of Highland. But the chart was, they always put PVC in.
Covered.
Oh, will they?
Thank you.
That's that.
Charlie? Talk loud, Charlie.
Charlie, come up here.
Please. You can put your mask down. You're far away from me. Thank you.
Monthly report for September, water consumption total 16,850 million gallons, which is a daily use of 561,666. Compared to last month, our consumption was 16,997 million gallons, which is a daily use of 548,290. Compared to a year ago, our consumption was 18,000,004 for the month, and our daily usage was 600,000 gallons a day. Summary for the month: hydrants, we continue to paint hydrants. Service line, we had a repair service line on Western Avenue and Highland Avenue. We also repaired a service line on Berry Lane and one on Grand Street with the help of the highway department. Curb boxes, we had to repair curb boxes on Highland Avenue. Water main, we had to repair an 8-inch water main on the corner of Jonathan Place and Berry Road with the help of the highway department. We also had to repair road cuts on Western Avenue because of our water main break. Sewer calls, we had a sewer call for a block up on Grand Street. Bills were sent out. If you have any problems or questions, feel free to give us a call. We will be glad to assist you. At the train station, we had to repair 2 sump pumps, and we performed bacteria test and disinfection of the well at the combat pole. Closings, we had 15, markouts 45, gallons of gas use 205, and the mileage for the month was 7,200.
Thank you, Charlie. Any questions for Mr. Najera?
Good job, Charlie.
And that test showed negative on the Tomback building water, right, Charlie?
Yes, everything was.
I have to relate that to Mr. Bell. Molly?
Town clerk monthly report, September 2021. Burn permits 1 for $50, conservation 21 for $214.89. Dog licenses 47 for a total of $255. Water services 1 for $700. Transfer station permits 3 for $75. Punch cards 21 for $1,390. Marriage licenses 8 for $140. Building department fees 1 for $24,364.86. Fire fees 1 for $415. Accident reports 13 for $70. Alarm permits 1 for $20. Certified copies 4 for $180. Park fees 1 for $300 for a grand total of $28,174.75.
Thank you. There's been an increase in our rental for the pavilion this year.
This year was, yes, very successful, I think, because of COVID pushing everything back last year.
Outside.
Everybody was really loving it this year. They went into October.
Plus it's outside events, right?
Yeah, a lot of outside events, a lot of, yeah.
That line is weekends too.
So I mean, it's always busy, but this was exceptionally busy.
Actually, the Milton Library did a great show, African drums, and we took the grandchildren there. And, we had a lot of fun. They did a real good job. And,
It's really worked too.
very educational, talked about different countries in Africa and stuff like that. Different,
I have a
drums.
quick question about the park. Yesterday, there was a full band set up on our stage in the evening. Anybody aware of it?
No.
So there was nobody there other than one person sitting in the parking lot. But a full band, I'm assuming practicing, I don't know. I drove through last night.
How they sound?
It's okay. They had the lights on, they had everything. So my question is, are we okay with that? I mean, I didn't say anything to it because I didn't know if it was an event or not. But it appeared to me that there was only one guy sitting in the chair in the roadway with a dog. And then 5 or 6 people on stage with all their instruments. Our lights on.
There was no event.
Yeah, which is all accessible right there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
they
agree.
asked permission.
I agree.
Yeah.
They
But,
should get permission.
Were they
from,
acoustic or were they powered up?
They were powered up. It was a guitar, some drums.
Charlie, you saw it?
I've seen, that ain't the first time they were out.
Well, it's the first time I saw them, but yeah.
They practice, because I guess they want the acoustics from it.
Well, yeah, regardless if they're practice or whatever, the town should know because they should at least
What if there's a voice
let
chat?
us know
Yeah,
what's
something's
happening.
Yeah, were they young, old, middle age?
They were younger, not kids, but young 20.
And is this every Wednesday? Or
I just,
when was it, last night?
this was last night.
Yeah.
I never seen them when we playing bocce.
It was starting to get dark, so it had to be, what, 6 o'clock,
So we
6:30?
haven't fielded a complaint for soccer or bocce.
No.
So maybe they just go there when nobody's there.
Yeah, no, I haven't heard any complaints. I was just curious.
Yeah.
Did we have an event that I wasn't aware of? And are we
No,
okay
you
with it?
should, out of courtesy for the town, you should actually just say, listen, can I use the bandstand? I don't think we would
Well,
deny.
I mean, that's the other problem, is something
Something
shorts
that's
out, they
hurt.
burn the place down. They're just gonna pack up and leave.
Well, that box should be locked.
I was just
It's
gonna
It
say.
shouldn't be open.
Can it be locked?
It should have a lock on it, that we
Or
have
we
on
could-
the other stuff.
We
And
can
then,
get a main breaker box, put a lock on that.
well, yeah,
Even the bocce court, that's a lock.
yeah, you should have it locked.
You can just get a main.
I'm
door.
assuming that power must feed from the pavilion. But that same one that the bocce lights there, but the
So
breakers
you can see
probably.
the wires through with the telephone pole.
Right there on the stage.
There's an actual
It's on the
box.
stage.
Yeah, but I mean, if
There's
it's
an actual box right there.
On the stage, that
Yeah.
was a lot.
We
but
could
if
look
it's
at that,
normal box,
Bocce
you can
was
just put a main brake line in there with a lockout on it.
look at
We'll
that.
look at that. Okay. Very
I
good.
really would like to know, I mean, it's for the public.
Yeah.
I mean, but, they should let us know, and they shouldn't be using the town electricity without at least letting us know.
I will
See you
pay
again.
attention, come through more often, so I can see if I can find them again, and then I will suggest that. Otherwise, Supervisor and I will go look tomorrow and see what we see.
We'll just sell them for our office.
Thanks, chief. Thanks, Colleen.
You're-
The wastewater treatment, October 11, 2021, for the month of September 2021, both the Marlborough and Milton water wastewater treatment plants comply with all the Swedish requirements. The following are monthly statistics for both plants. Marlborough wastewater treatment plant average daily flow was 158,000 gallons per day, about 90% of the design capacity. Average BOD removal 98%, average suspended solids removal 96%. In Milton, average daily flow was 43,000 gallons per day, about 78% design capacity. Average BOD removal was 99%, average suspended solid removal was 92%. And here we go. Both the Marlborough and Milton treatment plants operated normally during the month of September without any major changes or events. The high flows were due to the several storm events we had this month. The DEC performed their yearly inspection at the Marlborough wastewater treatment plant in September. The two issues they identified were not having a second discharge sign, any large amount of grease entering with the sewer water. We have obtained and installed a new sign but in order to reduce the amount of grease, someone with the town will need to physically inspect the grease traps on our collective system. Would that be you, Charlie?
Yes.
I guess he's asking for that. We are still deciding on how to address the leak in the Milton aeration line. There is a possibility of patching instead of completely abandoning the line. Just waiting on a quote from the company that sells the patching compound. Overall, both wastewater treatment plants are in good working order, but are getting older. If you need any additional information, please do not hesitate to contact me. That's Julian Falco, Water Quality Management. He actually came in today and we were talking about that leak that he's talking about with that aeration line. And they do sell a compound that you could use, but guess what? You can't buy just a small amount. You gotta buy $15,000 worth of further.
That's what they want.
And then the other quote he got was to replace that length of pipe. And that was around 18,000. So I asked him to actually see if maybe somebody or ex-Charlie, if that compound that they have, if we could buy it at the, just what we need. I think one, I don't know how they sell it in gallons or whatever, but it was $660. But to buy it, you had to spend 13,000 something and buy a pallet of it, which we don't really. So under this aeration airline, there's a crack and it's blowing air out, which is, is not good. So he's looking to repair it. And so he found out about this compound that you could put underneath. And it's the way he described it, it's pretty remarkable. But the cost of it, you can't buy just small quantities. You have to buy a pallet, which is around. So
Maybe some other town has.
That's what I was just gonna say.
Why would that be?
I don't sell this stuff.
That's kind of weird. You gotta buy.
So he's gonna go back and check to see if there's some place where he could get this compound, because that would be the most economical way of doing it, because he really doesn't want to disturb that line out. So he'd rather patch it. And he said this stuff was good for, 10, 15 years. So I'll follow through with that with Julian to see.
Let's get the Flex Seal.
Get the Flex Seal guy. They sell it in big cans now.
That might work, Yeah, maybe Highland.
Get a local town.
He's the expert, and I told him to really get a hold of Dennis to see if Dennis knew in engineering, maybe a compound that's similar to what he's looking at, and maybe we could solve the problem that way. Door controller. You want to take that, Ed? Or
I don't.
you want to take it?
I have the image.
Hey, I got it. Town of Marlborough door control, and this is from Andrew McKee. October 4th, 2021. Overview. We received a total of 16 calls this month, including 4 calls to service from the New York State Police and Ulster County Sheriff. We responded to 4 active complaints or cases which are now closed or resolved. We currently have 2 open case or complaints. We impounded 0 stray dogs this month. 1 appearance ticket was issued this month. We have a dangerous dog hearing in progress in the Marlborough Justice Court. End of report. So overall, not bad. Planning board, you have that?
I got Cindy. Yeah, go ahead.
You want to look at it this way?
I got it. Do you want me to do Cindy's report?
Yeah, absolutely.
2 town boards, Cindy Hilbert, we prepared 11 tax estimates. We processed 56 sales this month. We are preparing to mail out the senior nonprofit and agricultural exemption renewal application for 2022. They'll be mailed out within this next week. I attended Assessors Annual Conference October 3rd to the 6th, 2021 in Niagara Falls.
She said that the conference was great, but the area was so depressed. Niagara Falls, I guess, is not doing that well. Anyway.
Planning board review for September 2021. Financial report, application fees, $4,937.08. Escrow fees, $5,846.96. Recreation fees, $8,000, and 2021 invoices, $1,933.20. Meeting for September 6th was canceled. The next scheduled meeting is Monday, September 20th. The meeting for September 20th at 7:30 p.m. Everyone was there. Agenda approval of the stenographic minutes for 8/16. Approval of above minutes was granted unanimously. First item was Cheever's Air Bed and Breakfast at 45 Crossroad in Marlborough for a public hearing site plan. Public hearing was open and closed with limited input from the public. The board authorized their attorney to prepare a resolution of approval for the next meeting. Next item was Bishop Subdivision on New Road and Baloney Road in Milton. Public hearing and subdivision. The public hearing was opened and closed with limited input from the public. A negative declaration was made, and the board authorized their attorney to prepare a resolution of approval for their next meeting. I'm laughing because the word is actually grenade in the report.
Depends on how you look at it.
Daddio and Giametta is the next item, 14, 16, and 18 Riverwood Drive. So sketch lot line. The applicant's representative reviewed plans, which will result in 4 parcels becoming 2. A public hearing was scheduled for the October 18th meeting. The board authorized their attorney to prepare a resolution of approval for the next meeting should no significant input require remediation. Next item was the Gala Subdivision on 48 Idlewild Road in Marlborough sketch subdivision. The applicant's representative provided details for the project. Questions regarding on-site agricultural uses, setbacks, water provisions, and relocation of the driveway were discussed. The applicant will clarify these issues. Next item is Henry's Farm to Table on 220 North Road in Milton, a sketch site plan. The applicant and the representative provided detailed responses to questions raised at the July meeting to expand the restaurant facility on site. The project requires review from the Ulster County Planning Board. Public hearing was scheduled for October 18th, 2021. Next item is Pollock and Kent, 3954 Main Street, Milton, sketch lot line. The board reviewed with both applications simultaneously due to their connectivity. Actually, there were 2. One was a sketch lot line, the other was a sketch site plan. The applicant provided details of altering lot lines with an adjacent property owner in order to facilitate their mixed use proposal on Main Street. Questions regarding on-site street and other parking areas, deliveries, access, fire suppression systems, height, signage, traffic striping, stormwater management, and land clearing were all discussed. The project board has reviewed from the Ulster County Planning Board, as well as the jurisdictional fire department. The applicant will provide clarification of these issues. Next deadline is Friday, September 24th. Next scheduled meeting is October 4th. Respectfully submitted, Chris Brand, Chairman, Town of Marlborough Planning Board. That's it.
Thank you, Howard.
You're welcome.
And so I think both the Pollock's projects are moving along pretty quickly, which is a good thing. I think we wait for a report back from the planning board in Ulster County, but my indications from them is that both projects have no concern. They have no, so we'll wait for their actual.
No showstoppers.
Yeah, no showstoppers. Recreation Committee reported committee. Recreation Committee is the next thing on trunk or treat.
Trunk or treat.
That seems like it's going along pretty well.
Yeah, October 30th, you can sign up on our site, right?
Yep.
Christina got that set up for us. Right now, we got 18 trunkers, We're hoping to get at least 30. I'll set up a candy donation box here in the town hall if anybody would like to donate candy, because sometimes people run out of candy. And that way we want to have some on hand. There's also one set up at Captain Supply. So Mark set that up for us also. And it's been going good. So that'll be on the 30th. And it's from 3 to 5 for us. And then Meet Me in Marlborough is also having a trick or treat event in the hamlet of Marlborough. And that is from 2 to 4, and they will be having local businesses in the hamlet. Will be handing out candy to the kids that can walk around in the hamlet. And then they could walk down and they could come to trunk or treat after. So should be a good event, as always.
Should be a good day.
Yep.
Little bit of normalcy there, you know, with the kids. So I think that's great that we're doing that. And everybody's pitching in and cooperating. So I'm very pleased about that. Thank you very much. Emergency Management Preparedness Committee, I don't think there's anything, no report. There's no report on the CAC. IT Committee, we were talking about that, the phones, we still haven't resolved that. They, another situation where they put a gun to our head without, you know, just a couple of days' notice. Danny's looking to that. I talked to him again this morning. He hasn't received any response from them, but we'll follow through. I think everything will work out, hopefully. So I don't know how these things happen. You know, is it intentional? Or is it just a lack of communications?
Following Danny's email chain, and rightfully so, he's upset that he Googled and found out that in, don't quote me, but April of 2020,
Yeah, they
the
sold it.
announcement of our system was made by the company. But yet we only found out about it October 4th.
October
Yeah.
4th, I
Fourth?
think.
Yeah.
It's gotta be done by
so-
the 30th.
And we needed to make a decision by, well, immediately, because of end of life is October 31st. And we have 28 days after that before the system malfunctions and ceases to operate altogether.
So they did it, so they made it an emergency purchase for us, so we don't have to.
Yeah, we don't have a choice.
Correct. We don't
Right.
have, we don't have time to
And
go out and find
price-
other options.
And by the way, the price is $5,200, so it's $5,400.
$700.
So that's basically 34.
Yes, it is.
So how long's?
So October 31st is end of life. 28 days later, the system shuts down and
But
won't
he's
function
actually
at all.
asking them to reduce it.
That's inclusive, that's our voicemail and our voice tree.
So within 28 days, we have an emergency purchase, can we find another company?
Well, it actually, it says the cutoff's at that day, but then if you read it further, there is an additional
28 days.
28 days.
So does that give us time to submit for a relationship with another company? Because I would,
I think it's a project of this nature might have to go out for an RFP.
not if it's an emergency purchase.
This is true.
I've sold ladder trucks,
Yeah.
$1 million ladder trucks to people who ladder truck failed the week before. I
But
know
are we
it's
prepared
bad.
to, are we prepared to replace our entire phone system?
I don't know.
We're replacing the voice tree part of it now.
I mean, ITC has been pretty good to us, but this thing is
I'm hoping we
something
iron
that
it
should have
out.
never happened. And Danny is trying to get them to reduce the price for us because of this revelation that this was announced in 2020. And again, like Al said, there has been no response back from them, which is kind of odd for them because they're usually very responsive. So I think they probably kind of know that they probably dropped the ball on us and maybe they're trying to rework their numbers.
The other important thing we should try and find out, and I didn't have communication with David, but I'll discuss with you guys. What happens at the end of 28 days after October 31st? When you call 5100, does Colleen's office ring? When you call 2220, does your phone ring? What happens? Or do they get a busy zone? What's the consequences of not having a voice tree anymore? I get what it does now, right? You get the voice tree, it asks you what you want, you press certain numbers, it brings you to the right department. But what happens if that goes away and people are still dialing 795-2220, which was the supervisor's office? What happens? Does the supervisor's office ring or does it just go into nowhere?
Is the voice tree redundancy? I mean, we have a website and everybody uses websites, right? So that, the website could be our voice tree, because it has your number on there, right? And it has your.
But what happens when you dial
This is what you
5100? That's what I'm saying.
5100,
Nobody's
then you
answered
hit
that.
extension
Nobody's
one,
asked or answered that question yet. So our voice tree system goes down, our voicemails go away. So we'll have none of that when this goes to end of life or 28 days after.
Let's hope it doesn't.
So what
We're
happens?
not gonna get
So that's
that.
what my questions
We're
are.
not gonna
And
get to that.
since they're not responding, we haven't got answers. What happens at the end of that 28 days when the whole system shuts down? Does it revert back to having to call a specific number? And I don't know what people are calling today. It doesn't matter what number you dial of the town, it gets the voice tree. No
Yeah,
matter what.
they all-
number you
they all
call.
go right
So what
to the
happens when you continue to call that
I
2220?
would assume it would go.
Does
to
it
the-
ring back to that one office like it used to before we put the phone system in?
That's a
I
good
don't
question for Andy. Let's hope it, Danny, let's hope we don't get to that point. And I think what Danny was saying, that to replace the whole thing would be a major budget.
Oh, sure. It'd be like we put the system in back in 2014 or whatever.
$18,000.
Right.
Something like that.
To answer your question. So it's almost like, you know, they have the gun to it.
I mean, we had a,
And we're trying to address it to make it so this way we have some correspondence and Danny's taken care of.
I think we had a conversation with Spectrum when we did talk to the gentleman that's our new representative, and they are starting to do this type of service. So I think it is a conversation we bring up with them in this next year and see what kind of services they actually provide and the cost. But that's one person you wouldn't want to get an emergency thing done right now because
Nothing moves with them.
because it's been taking 3 weeks just to get a cable line.
Survey.
The survey and then
At least we got the okay to put the 2-inch line in, and then, you know, they're putting 2-inch lines up to the, where the gazebo. So, that being said, we'll follow through with Danny again tomorrow, make sure we're on top of it and do our due diligence. Milton Train Station Foundation, I met with, Peter Hoffman and the people that do the camera work for the choo-choo trains that they put on the website. Basically, because where we first thought we could do it, the telephone pole does belong to CSX. And CSX said we couldn't use it because it's a little too close to the train station, the train tracks. So we agreed on that. And then when we talked to the people, we established a spot where it'd be a common pole. And now it's up to the foundation if they want to go and install the pole, install the electricity. I think they talked to Dave Pulliam about the cost. I don't know if they have yet. But basically, I didn't think it was a problem for that camera. I don't know how much electricity that the town would go for the electricity, but so far I haven't seen no talking about it. It's a very popular thing. People, I think they advertise on that. That's why they put up the cameras and everything for free, because they advertise. People watch this constantly, I guess, on video.
And they do. If you pay attention down there, you'll see the same cars from Milton at Marlborough. Lots of trains will cross. And they do. It is pretty.
I get it. I get it.
Not something I'm into, but hey,
It's called,
whatever.
it's called rail fan. It's-
Yes.
Yeah. It's huge. Milton Landing Citizens Committee. I think basically we talked, and I talked to Gail the other day. The marina down in Marlborough is willing to store the 40-foot floating dock. The whole thing is talking to Gail is how to get it down there. He said the Baloney is coming, which is a ship that comes and docks there and gets produce in a couple of weeks, and then we're looking to see if we can get somebody to tow it down there. Also, full disclosure, the Marlborough Yacht Club offered the same, that they would take it out of the water and store it. But yeah, I talked to the marina, the Marlborough Marina, and they're the first ones, and we'll go with them as long as we get it down there. We have to get it down there, it's one way or the other, before the winter
You
comes.
and I spoke, and I'll tell the board what I told you, is the board's gonna have to, every year, that thing's gonna have to be pushed down to the yacht club and the marina. Our marina closes, my boat's out, Gail's boat's out, Jerry's boat's out. We have to be out of there October 1st. Wilkie kind of likes us, so we could get an extra couple of days out of it, but I pulled mine out like the 29th. It's not, I mean, we can't pull that out October 1st because we're still gonna have boats coming in. So we're gonna have to find a tow company that's willing to do this.
Hey, do you have a phone?
So
Because I got a couple.
would our boats even tow that if we wanted to?
I would,
That's what I
Gail
wondering.
wanted me and him to tow their boats. I said, I'm not towing
Tandem?
my boat. He wanted to do tandem tow. I said, I'm not, my boat's not designed to tow. Tow a water skier, but I'm not, that's like a barge.
Right,
I'm not gonna burn up my.
I don't know.
yeah, I mean,
Pushing, that's a big square
Yeah,
object.
It doesn't make sense.
So,
the only reason I'm asking is can the small tug that the marina have, tow that. It's got twin 225s. on
Yeah,
it. That's a far distance to go
that's a
with 2
far
miles an
distance.
hour.
I mean, if you did it, the thing is, you would want to do it at outgoing tide. So that means that that little tug would have to be driven up with the flat hull against the outgoing tides. That would burn up a lot of his fuel. Because if Gail and I were to do it, I told him I wouldn't do it. We would have done it at low tide. So we would have taken that low tide and we would have basically steered it. And it would have been a long trip, but we would have kind of like steered it and then we pushed it into the marina.
So how far is it from the
I-
Milton landing to the marina?
We kayak up to Oak Bar, which is like 2 miles. So it's probably another mile or two. It's probably
About
4 or 5 miles.
So it's that long?
Yeah. So it's just, there's a company I use called Cito. Right. I pay, I don't know if this is how it works, but I pay a certain amount of money in case I break down on the water. And they'll come out and tow me. I pay less than $200, but to get towed on the river is about $1,500. So I don't know if we call a Cito company and arrange a scheduled tow. I wonder what their rate would be. I doubt it would be that high. And their business is really slow.
What would be a long-term plan that we don't gotta do that, and we could figure out how to store it on our own parcel and get it out of the water here?
Well, the long-term plan would be, I don't know how it would work with design features, but I've been down there a lot looking at this, trying to figure out how we're gonna hold it. But the long-term would be to drop 2 more pylons in. And then install 2 winches and have our own whole system. Which
Just
would
lift
entail-
it right up to the
lift
water?
it out,
water.
leave it out there, and leave it out there. Just, we gotta get enough high enough for the ice drop. So we would bring it up there, and we would just have it strapped up.
And we had
there.
this conversation, the 2 pylons that thing is strapped around,
They won't work.
that they won't work, just to slide them up those posts.
Because I spoke with the builder, what it is the way that thing is constructed and the weight of it, it's almost 5,000 pounds, maybe it could be a little more. The way you have to put your webbing to pick that up, it has to go about a third in on both
Right.
sides. You can't just pick it up and both ends with that, right?
Yeah.
Pick it up too narrow. So
Yeah,
bend this way. So you have to actually strategically put your webbing, your straps, bring it up.
That was Randy.
And we couldn't do that
I
with
took,
the,
Randy said,
Yeah, Randy.
and we couldn't do that with the, putting an I-beam across there.
probably be cheaper to cover it down and have the storage.
I'm talking long-term. If you're talking $1,500 storage
I'm not saying
every year,
I'm not gonna
and
say
then God
the
forbid
tow,
it
we can
breaks
find
when
out
it's
how much
going
the tow
down there, instead of just done.
If those guys agree to store it, that's free right there. So usually pay by foot, and that's 40 feet, that'd be a lot more. But to tow it, if we call it Cito and schedule and say, "Hey, we just need to tow, there's other people that tow on the river. I'd say, hey, we need this done once a year, twice a year, we need to get there, we need to get that.
You stand, Lucas, what's your original model?
Lucky and Alice said that they would down to
They're
look
trying
at
to
it.
sell that place, and no, so that goes away.
Yeah.
But then we always have to go.
Do we know if John Gilberti has anything to tow it down there? He's the head
Have
of
we
the.
ever asked our engineer, what's the, how do we do this at our own site?
You gotta remember, by November.
Have we ever asked
everybody's
Randy
boats are out.
for, Tiger
Yeah.
So.
But
Randy
you were
would
just
talk-
talking
he would
about
do it.
somebody having little tugboat.
Oh, that's- yeah, I'll tell you.
But
But they're not
We're gonna break some.
I wouldn't even, I wouldn't
So
even-
we'll get in touch
I-
with Cito. Do you want to do that?
Yeah, I'm a member. I'm plus.
Yeah. See what it's up.
Have you figured out how to even detach it?
I think I figured it out. We're gonna break the bolts off. Because I'm pretty sure they nut bolt. You can't get underneath the whole bolt, so it's just gonna spin. So we're gonna shear the top of the bolts out. We get those square rings have to be secured to those pylons that are gonna go to the bottom of the ring. So we're gonna secure them, which I figured out there's a way to do that really quick. We're gonna secure them, so they'll spend the winter there. They're not bolted. When it gets down to Wookiees, we're gonna have somebody weld on fasteners, or that's probably 1/4-inch thick aluminum, that's threadable, so you can tap that down. Probably another option would be to drill a hole, put a brass isolator in there, and then screw into that, so there's no similar.
So there's ways to do it.
I think we really should, before we start cutting anything, I mean, nothing against anybody, I think we should talk to Randy.
You can find out. best
Find
thing to do
out
is call
how
Randy,
those things
see
are
if
anchored,
they
because if we start
threaded
cutting things,
Because if not, someone's gotta go in the water.
yeah, I just think we
I'll
should ask
call
them. first.
Randy.
Call Randy and see if they, hopefully they threaded that.
I just would be nervous about just cutting something, but
If you don't cut it, it's sitting.
then have to figure out how we put it back together and what, how we
Yeah,
put it
how
back
you gonna do
together. Is it engineered enough to serve the tide? I mean, the long-term plan is we should actually ask Randy, how do we store it on site?
Yeah, that's very expensive for him to come down.
Well, no, it's, again, with driving piles, we're buying.
You're talking
Oh,
about raising it.
We need to get electricity over there.
Well, again, these are things, if we have people that are coming, and they want to use our dock, then these are
That's what
things that we add into our contract with them, that these are the things we're gonna need done down at that landing.
Yeah. It's, you know, we're all new to the dock, so it's like a learning process for all of us.
It's nothing.
It's, yeah, it's not very
I just
shaky.
wanna break it.
So you're gonna check with the Seatown,
Yeah.
and how are you gonna check with Randy?
Yeah, I'll talk
How
to
to
you.
uh, properly do that? I agree with Alan, it's pretty hard to, it's in the water. Do something. No report from the Marlborough Hamlet Economic Development Committee.
And the only thing I'd say there is that, the grant, we still hope to make the deadline for the Greenway grant for the trail upgrades, so
How we doing with that?
slow. So I have to talk to Matt.
But when's the grant?
November 10th, I think, is due date or something like that. If not then it goes
Next year.
early April.
You have anything, I think Scott mentioned Sheila's activity on the 30th in the town. Do you have anything else with me
I-
in Marlborough? The
Leaving
Bounty
Marlborough, I
Fest?
haven't talked to her since the Bounty Fest, which she was very happy about, seemed to be happy about, so.
I think, you know, I think everybody who went there, I think is, I think the weather is really the key there. That was a beautiful day and people went out. And everything went well. She had a nice crowd.
Canoe kayaking thing went really well. I thought.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was very happy, very busy. So she was happy. That's good. Nothing else. that I-
She does it every year. It's about time she got a break on a good day. So she works hard at it. Sheila. Anything on the Hamlet or Milton Association?
Yeah, I think it's when this book is really, it's not gonna be a full thing. I don't, but speaking of her, it seems like there's not a lot of help. So I don't know what's he gonna want in the spring, fundraisers and everything. She did a great job. We had like a really quick conversation. But she's done a great job, but I think some of the players, I don't think CJ's around anymore. So that was one of the three. I think Stephanie. So we just wanted to. So I think if the HMA is going to continue, Vivian's going to need a lot of help and some probably will need some financial help. The spring fling is what paid for the flowers, paid for the pots, paid for everything.
When you lose someone like CJ, she went to the Rocking Horse
She
Ranch.
was in Rockmore, so that the venue's now going. So that was always a big driver. So it was a nice evening. People came and everybody donated. Vivian did well, and she took the money and she spent it well. That's reflected in what the results were. But the waterers, like there's a lot of waterers going around anymore. So I don't know what she's going to be able to handle. I want to have another sit down talk with her. But I'm just saying, like, maybe if everybody appreciated what it looked like down there, she may need some help. In the form of a donation, because we've never donated anything.
Yeah, I mean, it's almost like, you know, when you go to church, it's always the same people, they're
Yeah.
always the same thing. And it's hard to
Church.
get new people in.
This church is closed.
Every church is exactly. Volunteer, it's hard to get.
The same with everything, baseball, basketball, football, same people.
So just put that.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Transfer station, the only thing there is we sent the response to the DEC and they accepted it, so.
Yeah, so, and in a letter they, to Councilman Baker, I already talked to them and told them what we were gonna do. Howard followed up to Ian McCall from the DEC, and he wrote back, Councilman Baker, the department approves the town's plan to remove all waste tires from the Marlborough Trace transfer station property by no later than December the 31st, 2023. For September 23rd, 2021, November letter, please remember to provide me with all disposal receipts within 5 business days of receiving the receipts. And basically, what we're telling us we would take care of the tractor tires this year. I think there was 65 at $15 a piece. I think we had it in our budget. And then we would take 2 loads, Howard, next year.
Mhm.
And then the remaining 2 loads in 2023. And they were satisfied.
Well, probably because they saw our past performance. They knew we were doing something.
All they needed was a written thing from town board. So they were happy. You have anything else, Howard, or?
Nope.
Like I discussed on old business, Tom back. I don't want to go through it again. We're a little disappointed on the progress we're making. We'll follow through again tomorrow with our engineer and architect. We're not waste district improvement. We haven't done anything on that. So there's no report. The South Pier update, Howard, would you?
The only thing so when we last spoke about the South Pier, we talked about the possibility of going back to our original plan for the fender piles. So Brandy was gonna go back to C Street and the other company, American Cruise Lines. I asked her the other day if she's heard back from them about the suitability of that original proposal, and she hasn't gotten back to me yet, so I don't know where we stand on that. So that's still outstanding. The only other thing I could say is there's a third company that's interested, according to BJ Nicholson. It's called Linblad Expeditions. It's associated with National Geographic Expeditions, so it's a kind of a national, international company, I guess. So he was going to try to arrange the same kind of tour of the town that he gave the other 2 tour boat companies earlier or last month. So I don't know what the status of that is. And as soon as I hear, I'll let you guys know. But a third cruise line is interested.
There's actually one of the cruise lines is up and around there right now.
Yeah, I saw it. I thought I saw it on,
By Sunday.
yeah, I saw it in Newburgh on Saturday night.
Yeah, so it's docked up at the roundout.
Is it the American Cruise Line?
It's American Cruise Line.
Yeah, those are the guys
up there. I saw it today. I saw it on the river yesterday, but I figured it was going up there. It was there. But
Pretty
I'm doing
cool.
business with City of Kingston right now,
Mhm.
and they're set to go pretty soon. So I'm gonna find out who the harbor master is.
Yes.
Or how they do it.
Right.
I don't wanna go there now with cruise lines there.
Right,
This is, I don't want them going anywhere sniffing around looking at stuff.
right.
But I should have a name and contact.
Okay.
Next couple weeks. They'll set up a meeting.
Okay. Maybe there's somebody from Kingston that takes out
What's that?
float. Maybe there's somebody from Kingston that takes out floating docks too.
Me? I doubt they're gonna come down here. 'Cause
But through a wishful thinking.
The only place I thought of, back to that point, is White's Marina across the river.
Yeah, but that little barge is what they do is, those are the ones that push around the piles out. They push around the docks. So when they take the docks out, that pushes it.
Yeah, that would
So
be,
they're not designed.
So I know we all have friends, Trap Rock. So we're the
That's
small
tough.
talk.
Yeah,
I'm
that is
aware
a
of.
small part.
It's right there,
It is.
where is it?
directly across the
Yeah,
street.
Okay, there, right, okay.
They have a little yellow tugboat. Tugboat.
Yeah, that's.
Yeah, we have friends there.
I'm saying, that.
Yeah.
Everybody knows somebody that works at Trap Rock. We're just gotta get to that right person, at least by us this year. We figure out what we wanna do.
That would, that's actually a good idea. And that's
That's
the
the
tug that would do it. That's a big one.
So do you know anybody?
You do.
I do.
Oh.
Yeah,
I know people that work there. I don't know if they're the right people, but I could ask questions.
he knows the public relations guy, so.
Yeah, I'll call them. I didn't know that they had that capability.
That's a good
That's a
idea.
good-
I forgot about that, because when they fill the barges, they stack them.
Yeah.
The big tug stuff. That would work.
I'll still call Randy, but that's an excellent suggestion.
And I'll call Josh.
Josh Benson.
Thanks for the. And they've been very.
So what's if I,
Well, I'm trying to figure out how I could tow my boat. I'm afraid of the same thing. Our boats are not meant to be towing
no, that's,
those types of loads. We'll overheat and blow out that outdrive. Unless you want to spend
Yeah. if you
2,500
guys
on your out
insure-
drive.
you guys insure my lower. You guys insure my lower, I'll do it.
That's not gonna happen.
It's, yeah, and the chance it happening, God forbid we damage the dock somehow.
I don't want to
I
damage
just,
my boat.
yeah, I just
Even
see
my
problems. That's why I'm saying,
Yeah, no.
they have a boat that's designed for pushing and towing. If they could do that, that'd be great. If not, your other option would be another company that actually tows boat for a
And
living.
they have an area to store it? for
No, no,
us?
they would
Just
move
to
it.
tow it
We've
down
got
to
the
the area.
storage, we've got figured
Yeah,
out.
yeah,
We just
I
gotta-
understand. I'm asking the question. I didn't know if they had a place to actually,
No, there was,
I would say we use our place
okay,
for storage, yeah.
not a problem.
Just the,
I just want clarification what I'm
Their boat.
asking for.
we just
Their
see
boat
transportation.
Yeah, just twice a year, transportation.
Get the nearest cruising after that.
Oh, jeez.
I mean, if you got time, you can actually do it with a trolling motor and a tide. and just
Yeah,
have somebody pull
we'd be
you in
smart
with
at that.
it, right? We'll get there eventually.
So let's go to new business. Just to remind everybody, the public hearing is still open for the budget of 2022. So I sent this to everybody. It was from Bergman. In actual, I talked to somebody and I talked to Mr. Hart about this, and what Bergman is asking is in the policy of the CXXT. I sent this to you. What it refers to is a $13,860. This funds are to cover the anticipated project cost for the preliminary engineering only. It has nothing to do with the gated or the non-gated or the pedestrian thing. It has to do with our park. So CSX knows that we have a park there, and they have to have full disclosure of what we're doing on the park, what our bounds are, what's the, I sent them all the stuff about our park, especially like a couple of years ago, we were proactive and got a survey of our park with the property we own. And he also I indicated to him, I'm a little confused about this because I never heard about it. And he says it's about your park. I said, well, we have concerns about that because we had a ceremony and the train stopped. He says, well, this is exactly what we're trying to address. So this way the park doesn't run into any issues with the CSX trains.
So was this an outcome of our complaints?
This is an outcome of us having a park
Okay.
by the railroad.
He wants to know how far it extends.
Yeah, they want
But
to
it
know about the dock.
Was it instigated by
No,
anything?
it was instigated by the commitment to build a crossing and a
Okay.
pedestrian crossing.
So it does.
That's what initiated this
Okay.
piece of design, because
It's very
once
confusing.
they found out that we had a park within the train station, within the railroad tracks,
Mhm.
they want to know CXT, I sent this all to you,
Right.
that what
read
is
it, but I
happening
didn't
at that
understand it.
park,
Okay.
right? And so I had lengthy conversation with them. So it entails sending 13,860 to put in escrow if they need it. He says that basically they usually don't go over that, but the first ask was $5,000 and then they come back with the 13,000, which made me really not understanding. So I had this lengthy talk, and it's all about the Milton Landing Park. And so now I understand. Basically, I talked to Gregory Hart. I think we talked to him and he said,
Something different.
yeah, something different.
That
Yeah,
was
I
more
think you had
related to
Lou.
crossing.
Yeah, you talked about the actual crossing with Lou, who was actually the safety guy. We're going to talk about fencing too when it comes to design, which we will see. And then we could make, we could talk about what those issues are. If the fence is 8 foot and we can't see it.
I went down to look at the pier. I saw Mr. Hart, I saw Lou. So I was walking back up and they were in conversation. So I just said, let me walk up and say hi. They saw me. I walked up and said hi. So Greg started asking me questions about, or Lou started asking me questions about our fencing because are they going to keep the old crossing? They want, CSX wants to keep that old crossing there because that's where they put their highways. The trucks that fix the tracks. So Lou said, we're gonna put this big giant fence, this big giant gate up there. I said, why would you put a big gate? He said, we'll keep the cars from crossing. I said, Lou, when we put our fence in, we fix your bowers, we're gonna put a fence all the way down. There's only one entrance to this park. So he went, oh, and then Greg was like, Jesus, this was a holdup. So that's why he and Greg had met there because
Okay.
of that. And I said,
That
no, I
makes
said,
That's confusing because we had talked about closing the current one.
we talked about it.
They
wanted-
did, no,
No, they didn't want a through crossing. Howard.
yeah,
They don't want a through crossing.
I know.
They
So
want
that,
a launch pad.
so when we had this meeting, I'm talking about early September with CSX, many people from CSX, and Greg was there too, DOT. The thought was, the plan was, the idea was, the recommendation was to close the current opening completely, close that. Move a pedestrian and vehicular opening down to the south. And
To the
they-
south.
They had two potential places for it, either all the way to the south or sort of in the middle. And it would be like a 32-foot wide with 16-foot gates.
I think they don't, I think that what I got from Lewis.
So
I
they
don't think it's
changed
gonna
their
be
mind.
30 I don't think it's gonna be 32 feet wide,
Right.
because that, they need 32 feet to get the big trucks on. They put big trucks on. I think they just wanna leave that as a launch pad. It won't be a crossing. It's just gonna be a pad.
Launch pad for CSX.
CSX only.
So the
Lou-
eastern side will be closed off?
The eastern side is gonna be fenced all the way down to the end of the park. So that's what I said to Lou. I said, Lou, there's gonna be no reason to drive across here.
Because it becomes.
It's gonna be closed. So we'll have a normal size fence. And then you can leave this open. There'll be nowhere to go. No one's gonna wanna walk there because there's gonna be nowhere to go. So he was kind of like, that makes sense. Instead of putting this big humongous gate up, that they would have to figure out how to swing it. Because you can't swing it this way, because it swings back into the
They're
track.
gonna go like this, open like this.
I don't know what they were gonna do.
Well,
The
that
point
was,
of the matter
that,
is, they're not gonna do that,
They're not
right?
doing it.
They're not gonna, we're gonna just block it off. They're gonna use their access and then we're gonna concentrate on the new
It's gonna be
design
crossed.
for the crossing.
okay.
And then what Lou said was, he heard about everything that happened. From people at CSX.
Mhm.
He says
There were lots of CSX guys there, I mean,
Yeah.
6 or 7 of them.
Yeah. So what Lou said was that there are grants that we can get for pedestrian crossing. And he says, but you have to put an elevator on. And I said, Lou, I'm pretty sure EDA, if that's not the main entrance exit, we don't need an elevator. He says, are you sure? I said, Lou, how many fire escapes do you see an elevator? You know, that's just gonna be a fire escape, is all it's gonna be.
Mhm.
So he's gonna look into that.
You mean a grant for an elevator?
He wanted to put the pedestrian crossing. He says you will have to put an elevator for EDA. And I said, I think if that's not our primary means of entrance to egress,
Okay.
it doesn't have to be EDA. That's a secondary means. This is the primary. So this is going to be EDA. So he said, "Well," so he said, well, that changes the budget. I said, yeah. He said, you guys should really apply for that. Once this is done, apply for that. Because it really, when they originally proposed it, they were going to close the whole thing down and give us that pedestrian. This is going back years ago. But we would have to put either an elevator or a ramp.
I remember.
And there was no way you get a kayak, there's no way you get fishing here, there's no way you get picnics, there's no way you're doing that. Everything. So we said, well, we're not giving up our crossing. So that's where the whole pedestrian bridge thing went away. And so we're going to get legally crossing here. But now we have legally crossing here, that's just a fire.
Well, just for clarification, are they still talking about the pedestrian crossing is gonna move to the south, right?
Everything
Yes.
that you guys planned out is planned out. They're just.
Just not-
The west side, they're gonna keep
Not as
building.
a crossing.
But it's not gonna be 32 feet wide, the pedestrian.
I don't know what they're
I
talking
wouldn't
about.
see why
I
it
think
would
they
be.
want to shrink that down.
I would think so, because the only
What
reason
do you need 32 feet wide for pedestrian?
you don't.
So that
I
safety
think
wise.
it's like 16 normally, we're just gonna double.
Yeah, I think they're gonna do just enough for a fire truck and ambulance and then.
So I think that was probably one of the issues Lou had and Gregory was down there discussing it. It was a good thing that you were down there. And,
That's why he wanted, Greg wants this in writing from you. That we're gonna fence off that whole second cross.
I'll talk to him tomorrow exactly what he needs.
Put it on letterhead and then give it to him. And he'll have that to satisfy CSX.
So back to the Bergman thing about the 13860. I actually need the board's authority to sign this, which I gave you preliminary engineering agreement, and send a check for 13.5. So I make a motion to get this going, to write out a check for 13,860 to put into escrow for the preliminary engineering and sign this agreement, sign it, send everybody hopefully an agreement. And if you look at the back, it actually tells you what everything is about, the project total, current authorized budget. It specifies exactly what it's for.
I would second that. Did you make a motion?
I made the motion.
Okay, I'd second that. I mean, it seems like it's gotta take the step because if you don't, we're not gonna get anywhere with this.
We're not gonna get away from it. Until this is done, the other stuff isn't gonna be done.
Right.
So I made the motion. I got a second by Councilman Baker. All in favor? Opposed? None being said. Talk to Chris Whipple tomorrow. Correspondence. I have a couple correspondence. One was from our county executive. Dear Al, it was great to see you it was great to see you at, and my pleasure to attend Marlborough Community Pride Day 2021. I was honored to be able to recognize area restaurants for their generous contribution to Project Resilience and to share in the festivities that celebrate all that is great about Marlborough and its residents. Please extend my gratitude to the members of your team who create such a special day and for warmly welcoming me to the event. Sincerely, Patrick K. Ryan, Ulster County Executive. Mr. Ryan. Correspondence. Talked about the landfill already. There wasn't any notable resignations from your department, was there?
Michelle Yeager resigned. She was a
How
part-time
come I
officer.
didn't get that?
She should have, I delivered it.
That's all.
No, she used to be the SRO, yep. She took a leave of absence, she got a full-time job at New Paltz, so she took a leave of absence because they can't double tin while they're on probation. Once her probation was over, she transferred to Carmel.
Did you
got a-
send it to Tina? I'm sorry. To me.
To Tina.
Tina.
She transferred over to Carmel. Carmel is a very good paying job, tons of overtime. There's really not any time left for her to do anything else. So she tendered a resignation. She's been out a year already. So this is just the official resignation.
Do you have that available?
Currently, right now, this second? No.
No.
I can get it to you tomorrow.
Well,
I don't have
think
it
we have to
emailed.
approach it today, right? Tonight. So
No, you can read it again in the next meeting. It's
Okay.
not a big deal. No.
Okay.
It's just making it official, right?
I apologize. I didn't see it. I was wondering. Usually every week or two, there's somebody resigning from your offices.
State police, the sheriff, they should all send us thank you.
They should start paying some of the bills.
This
That's the way it is.
So, this is the time, number 12, 13, public comments. Anybody have any public comments? We still have the budget public hearing open. Okay, no public comments. I need a motion to close the public hearing on the budget.
You gotta discuss the changes.
Yeah, we'll do that after we close the public hearing. Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. So now that that's done, I think our budget director had to read the changes that we're going to introduce. The following changes to the budget need to be discussed. Then we probably why. Change line item 5101.100A, Highway Superintendent Personal Service from $110,530 to $222. That was an increase for Mr. Alonji of $5,000. We talked about that. Change line item 9730.600A, South Pier principal debt from 0 to $64,286. Change the unexpected balance to reduce taxes from 115 to 180. Change line item 8110.400 SS Marlborough Sewer from $202,925 to $210,925. Change line item 8110.400 SS2 Milton Sewer from $21,169 to $15,169. Change line item 4540.400A ambulance contractual from $298,214 to $327,200. This is a 10% increase that we talked about. So our tax rate from 2021 to 22 is a 1.75 tax rate. The increase in the levy increase was 4.58%. This is general and highway combined. Also from our budget director, she's been trying to get on the tax cap website, and she hasn't had any luck. Have you had any luck?
I had one.
So would you like?
So we did come under the 2% tax cap, under $19,944. So it's about a 1.09%.
So we came under by 19,000.
Correct.
Okay,
And we
so
also had a carry over too, which I didn't apply, and that was 64,000.
yeah,
So
last
we're
year I think we
quite-
did very well.
That's the tax levy, the percentage.
Yeah, that's the tax levy. That's
Not the budget.
whole taxes together minus the fire departments. and like-
That's what we need to keep our town hall and our highway going.
But the 1.75% that he just discussed, that is just general and highway. Increase from last year to this year.
That's the budget increase.
Correct.
Right.
That's the tax rate.
That's the rate.
Yes.
So,
Levy.
do we need a motion to make these changes? So I motion that we make these changes. I need a second. All in favor? So moved. So to put in this kind of sort of perspective, a $400,000 home would be paying an increase in tax of $58.40, moving right down to $300,000 at a rate of 8.309, would be $43.80. A $250,000 home would be $36.50. A $200,000 home is $29.20 increase, and a $150,000 home would be a $21.90 increase. That being said, it's a rough year, you know. I really, and I think Scott and the budget director, Christine, when I went into it, Christine, about 2 months ago, I said, let's try to get this down to 0. And then little by little, it didn't look too bad. Then the increase for the South Pier, we had to pay off some principal, and then the kicker was the 10% increase of $30,000 for our mobile life. And like I said, you can't put a number on life, so we move forward, and hopefully maybe next year.
And we were like, well, excited at first because the healthcare only came in at 4%
Yeah.
increase. You were like, oh, man, this
Yeah,
is
that was like,
first time
wow.
ever. We're like, this is very funny, right?
oh, usually it's 13.5,
Right,
13%.
14. So mobile life made up for it on the other one. No, basically,
So this is,
they made up for it.
this is how we, you know, I mean, we have to take care of our constituents, so we have to make sure that everybody is provided for, especially for ambulance. So it's a no-brainer, actually. Got to do it. So moving right along, we have that motion and it's approved, so we'll add that in and finalize the final budget.
Right.
Okay. We'll move to resolutions. So 74, resolution 74 to remove a section from the chief of police contract with the town of Marlborough. Supervisor Lanzetta proposed the following, where there is a contradiction about vacation policy in the chief of police contract. We resolve that the below section be removed. That's Article 5, vacation, which is the chief of police shall be entitled to vacation days, carryover days, accumulated days, and buyout days, if any, subject to the guidelines set forth in the town's employee handbook. So basically, we had the handbook, then we had the guidance from the contract. And so we dropped the handbook guidance on vacation days for the chief in his contract and went with the policy of the new contract with the PBA. Of course, that was a little bit better, so. I think,
Favorable. It's favorable for Jerry, just put it this way. But to be fair, we've been pretty much, we've been doing that anyway, right? So it was because it was just something we put in the contract that shouldn't have been in the contract.
Your
His
contract,
contract.
your contract.
Into my contract.
Yeah, yeah, we kind of.
Jerry's an employee that runs by two contracts, basically. His own
Yeah.
personal contract and the union contract.
Oh, 3 at the time,
Yeah.
because it was a employee town handbook, the
Yeah,
union
well, that too.
contract, and then
Then the employee
Mine
handbook on
negotiated.
top of it, so.
so it was just, they didn't mesh, and the auditors found an issue with it.
So we're taking
It's been
care of it
addressed.
with this resolution. We're cleaning up your contract there. Chief. Ali?
Councilman Corcoran,
Yes.
Councilman Malinelli,
Yes.
Councilman Koenig,
Yes.
Councilman Baker.
Yes.
Supervisor Lanzetta.
Yes, thank you very much. This is resolution 76 to appoint a part-time dispatcher, whereas the town of Marlborough Police Department has an open position for a part-time police dispatcher, and whereas it
So you
is.
skip
Say
Oh, dang.
75.
75.
Oh. Pages still. Yep, they did. Sorry about that. Okay. Let's go to 75. Supervisor Lanzetta proposes the following, whereas the town board needs to approve the transfer of funds, and whereas the highway department received funds from selling equipment, be it resolved that the town board of the town of Marlborough hereby approves the following transfer of funds: a transfer of $71,960 from the highway cash account DA.0200 to highway heavy equipment reserve DA.0230.004 and moves to its adoption.
Councilman Corcoran,
Yes.
Councilman Malinelli,
Yes.
Councilman Koenig,
Yes.
Councilman Baker,
Yes.
Supervisor Lanzetta.
Yes, thank you very much. Sorry about that. Now I can go on to 76. Resolution 76, supervised and proposes the following. Resolution 76 to appoint a part-time dispatcher. Whereas the town of Marlborough Police Department has an open position for a part-time police dispatcher, and whereas it is recommendation of the chief of police and the police committee to appoint Charles Gent as part-time police dispatcher. Be it resolved that Charles Gent be appointed effective immediately. Charlie. All right. And moves for its adoption.
Councilman Corcoran,
Yes.
Councilman Malinelli.
Yeah, I think you got to get candidates.
So far, he's been.
Yes.
I don't know where you get these guys, but they're fantastic.
Councilman Koenig,
Yes.
Councilman Baker,
Yes.
Supervisor Lanzetta.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, chief, and thank you, police committee. Now, resolution 77. Resolution 77 to appoint a part-time police officer. Supervisor Lanzetta proposes the following. Whereas the town of Marlborough Police Department has an open position for a part-time police officer, and whereas whereas it is the recommendation of the chief of police and the police committee to appoint Miguel Aso,
Ocasio,
say that again, Ed?
Ocasio.
Ocasio, as part-time police officer. Be resolved that Manuel Ocasio be appointed effective immediately and moves for its adoption.
Councilman Corcoran,
Yes.
Councilman Malinelli,
Another note on him, he's not gonna be going anywhere full time, which is a good thing. He's friends with Pete, DeVesti, so that's a really good thing.
If he comes retired from NYPD, so he's done with his full-time career. So hopefully
You can make up to 35,000, right? So-
Correct.
so
he'll be a permanent
Yeah.
person.
You'll have, you don't have to worry about him going to the job.
Right.
So that's a good thing. Yes.
Councilman Koenig.
Yeah.
Councilman Baker.
Yes, he's only 39 years old.
Wow.
Well,
Supervisor
military
Lan-
time then, sorry.
Yeah, 4 years of military.
Supervisor Lanzetta.
Yes, thank you very much.
Be nice to retire at 30.
39
retired. What are we doing?
He lives in Monroe, which I told him, what,
I said the same thing.
It's not the same thing.
he's got kids at school. So.
Sure, that's what you can retire. Done.
So as amended, resolution 78, to recommend reappointment to the town representatives to the Ulster County Planning Board. Supervisor Lanzetta proposed to find, whereas Cindy Lanzetta and Chris Brandt has been the representatives to the Ulster County Planning Board for the town of Marlborough, and whereas their current terms expire on December 31st, 2021, and whereas they meet all the training requirements to continue on the Ulster County Planning Board for the town of Marlborough. Be it resolved that Cindy Lanzetta and Chris Brand be recommended to reappointment to the Ulster County Planning Board and moves for its adoption.
Councilman Corcoran,
Yes.
Councilman Malinelli.
Yes.
Councilman Koenig,
Yes.
Councilman Baker,
Yes.
Supervisor Lanzetta.
I'm gonna have to recuse myself because Mrs. Lanzetta is my lovely wife.
He knows it's being.
Sometimes you can. Okay, that being said.
Alan, you only got a few more of these, so make it good.
Just wondering if I can get maybe a motion to adjourn.
Maybe,
Uh,
no, absolutely.
Maybe.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much, gentlemen and ladies.
Chris, come on back, Chris.